Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Prime Minister today, in an interaction with chief ministers on the COVID situation, launched into the opposition states, saying that some of them were not passing on the benefits of the fuel tax cut to their consumers. He specifically called out opposition states like Maharashtra, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala, and said that these states had not cut back even though the centre had cut excise duty. Now the states say this is not entirely true because the centre earns far more, in fact more than twice of what the states do just on fuel taxes alone. The question and the point is simply this: while the Aadmi is suffering, most cities across India, you're easily paying well over 100 rupees for a litre of petrol. While the Aadmi is suffering, are the centre and the states simply passing the buck? But first, the story so far.
कोरोना की चुनौती अभी पूरी तरह से टली नहीं है.
At the meeting with chief ministers to discuss the current COVID situation in India, Prime Minister Modi sparked off a fuel fire.
केंद्र सरकार ने एक्साइज ड्यूटी में कमी की थी, पिछले नवंबर महीने में कम की थी. केंद्र सरकार ने राज्यों से भी आग्रह किया था कि वो अपने यहां टैक्स कम करें और ये बेनिफिट नागरिकों को ट्रांसफर करें.
He named and shamed a slew of opposition-ruled states who have not cut VAT on fuel.
जैसे महाराष्ट्र, पश्चिम बंगाल, तेलंगाना, आंध्र प्रदेश, तमिलनाडु, केरला, झारखंड, किसी न किसी कारण से उन्होंने इस बात को नहीं माना और उनके राज्य को, नागरिकों को बोझ कंटिन्यू रहा.
The Prime Minister urged these states to reduce fuel tax in the interests of the nation.
मैं यहां किसी की आलोचना नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं सिर्फ आपसे प्रार्थना कर रहा हूं, आपके राज्य के नागरिकों की भलाई के लिए प्रार्थना कर रहा हूं. इस वजह से
Prime Minister Modi pointed out that while it's natural that states reduce their taxes will suffer revenue losses, some states did take such a step.
ಅದು ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಲಾಭ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಫೆಡರಲಿಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳು ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಸೂಚನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
But some parties try to turn the tables on the centre.
Cooperative federalism is a two-way traffic. What is he talking about? 26 lakh crores he has earned out of central excise, the central government has earned on petrol and diesel. Has he shared it? He should show the way. Reduce central excise and then ask others to reduce VAT.
While fuel politics rages, will states put relief for the Aadmi above the exchequer? Now let's break it down for you purely in terms of numbers. How much tax is levied on petrol and diesel in BJP-ruled states and how much in non-BJP-ruled states? In Uttar Pradesh, for example, 16 rupees 50 paise is the state tax that's levied. In Maharashtra, that is almost twice. It's 32 rupees 15 paise. So you can see the difference there, the stark difference. In Gujarat, it's 16 rupees 56 paise, which is the state VAT that's levied. In Rajasthan, it's 29 rupees. So it's almost twice between Gujarat and Rajasthan. Mind you, these are neighboring states. You have Uttarakhand, where the state VAT is only 14 rupees. Mind you, it's a small state, very limited sources of revenue, and yet only 14 rupees state VAT. Whereas in Andhra Pradesh, it's 31 rupees 60 paise for state VAT for a litre of petrol. In Himachal Pradesh, again, smaller state, dependent largely on tourism, state VAT is only 16 rupees 60 paise, whereas in Kerala, which is again a state dependent on tourism and remittances and so on, 27 rupees 24 paise is the state VAT on a litre of petrol. Again, comparing between Assam, 17 rupees 38 paise, West Bengal, which is a much bigger economy in eastern India, levying as much as 26 rupees 24 paise. And talking about West Bengal, we're getting the first reaction from the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee has just reacted on this issue. She is saying that the centre owes the state of Bengal 97,000 crore rupees. That's her claim. She says on account of GST as well as other arrears which the centre has to pay states, the state of Bengal, according to Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister, is owed by the centre 97,000 crore rupees. She says, give us half that amount and I will immediately pass on the state VAT cut to the consumers. That's what Mamata Banerjee has just said. Let's play out that sound bite of the Bengal Chief Minister, and then we'll go across to our guests.
खाली पेट्रोल और डीजल पे मोदी जी का इनकम हुआ है 17.3 लाख 202 करोड़ 242 करोड़ और आप स्टेट को बोलते हैं। अब कभी कभी कहते हैं स्टेट का पास इतना डेप्थ है, स्टेट का अगर 3-4 लाख है करोड़ तो आपका है 150 लाख करोड़ का माफी। अपना बात तो थोड़ा कहो।
All right, let me go across to our guest. Sanju Verma is national spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Anshul Avijit, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Saket Gokhale is TMC spokesperson. And Gaurav Chaudhary is consultant editor with Money Control. Let me start with you, Sanju Verma. Please respond to what Mamata Banerjee has said, that the centre has collected in excess of 17 lakh crores in excise duty on fuel alone. She says that the centre owes the state of Bengal 97,000 crores. Even if half of it is given, then the state VAT will be cut and the benefit will be passed on to the consumer. Please respond, ma'am.
You know, Zaka, I will quickly, with a small example, expose the rabid lies of the opposition, including the hypocrisy of Mamata Banerjee. It is a well-known fact, for every 100 rupees per litre, the tax collected is 45 rupees 30 paise. Out of 45 rupees 30 paise, prima facie, the central government gets 28 rupees 90 paise and the state governments get 16 rupees 40 paise. But there's a catch. Out of this 28 rupees 90 paise, 50% of the excise collection is under the divisible pool and the rest is under the non-divisible pool. So out of the 28 rupees 90 paise, state governments again get, mind you, 14 rupees 45 paise. So plain and simple arithmetic, which is not rocket science. Finally, in the final analysis, how much do state governments make? State governments make 30 rupees 85 paise. Central government gets in the final analysis 14 rupees 45 paise. That adds up to 45 rupees 30 paise, which is what I initially started with, which basically means for every 100 rupees per litre worth of petrol that is sold at retail outlets, effectively states get 68.10%.
That's not what the states are saying. They will surely dispute that fact, but I'll get Saket Gokhale to respond. I want to ask a political question as well.
You know, but you cut me at the most important juncture.
Because I think the states will dispute that percentage figure for sure. But more than the nitty-gritties of the figures. More than the nitty-gritties of the figures, ma'am, please. If you may, more than the nitty-gritties of the figures, can you please also explain to the opposition states and of course to our viewers why for 4 months between November and March not a single rupee was raised as far as petrol and diesel was concerned, and then subsequent to that, after the elections got concluded, petrol has risen in some states by as much as 12 rupees a litre.
Okay, Zaka, that's a very valid question. So let me just tell you that from the lows of April 2020 to the highs of March 2022, there has been a 630% increase, more than 6 times in global Brent crude prices, and India largely imports Brent crude. Globally, be it the US, the EU, Austria, Hungary, United Kingdom, what have you, most countries have raised just in the last 3 months of 2022 fuel prices by anywhere between 50 to 58%. What was retailing in US at $2.10 per gallon is today retailing at $4.7 or $4.9 per gallon. You know, so that's a massive leap comparatively, despite the fact that India imports more than 83% of its fuel requirements. The percentile increase in India has been minuscule to the extent of barely 8 to 10%. But I will just end by saying one thing. Why has Maharashtra not reduced VAT? Why has Andhra Pradesh not reduced VAT? Why has West Bengal not reduced VAT? Why has Tamil Nadu not reduced VAT? Why has Rajasthan reduced VAT? by just 4%?
Okay.
Why has Delhi reduced VAT on petrol but not on
I want to
diesel?
ask
Why has
Saket Gokhale
Chhattisgarh
that
reduced VAT
not only
by
have
just
you not
1%?
reduced VAT, I just have the figure of how much West Bengal has earned in these last 6 months from November till now by way of not reducing VAT. 1,343 crores is what the state of West Bengal, Saket Gokhale, has earned. The state of Maharashtra has earned 3,472 crores in excess taxes just by not reducing VAT in these last 6 months. Please explain.
Mr. Jacob, on what basis, number one, do you say excess taxes? What's the define excess? What do you mean by excess taxes?
Had
What
you
is excess?
reduced VAT by the same amount that the centre reduced excise duty, then you would have lost 3,400 crores in Maharashtra and 1,343 crores in the state of West Bengal.
Between 2014 to November 2021, please tell me how many times has the centre reduced excise duty? Let me tell you the answer, 0. So please do not present facts selectively. Please also explain how much extra revenue the centre has earned when throughout the COVID pandemic for 2 years, oil came down to $0 per barrel. Oil was trading at a negative. Oil producers were paying people to take crude off their hands. It went into negative territory. How many times were prices reduced at that point? Number one. Number two, there is always this claim by the BJP that, oh, we are taxing fuel and we are taxing all of this for direct benefit transfers and programs for people.
Yeah.
As the Chief Minister of West Bengal said, 97,000 crores of arrears, including GST arrears, have not been paid to West Bengal. This is not just West Bengal. This is the case with Tamil Nadu. This is the case with Maharashtra. So the reason BJP states are able to reduce VAT is because they're getting their GST dues on time. They're getting all the arrears
No,
on
but
time.
Mr. Gokhale, are you saying that what the centre is saying, 42% of the consolidated fund, whatever comes to the consolidated fund is being given to states, is not being given to states like Bengal and Tamil Nadu? Is that your claim?
Finish, you will know what I'm saying. If you only give me a chance to finish. We have arrears. Those are not being paid. They have not been paid. Unlike where they've been paid to Gujarat, they've been paid to
That's a lie. There are no arrears. There are no arrears pending towards Bengal. Stop lying on national television. I will not allow you to get away with rapid lies.
No, one second.
West Bengal
Saket
is
Gokhale,
getting
I am
its
again
revenue
asking you.
deficit
One second,
down.
ma'am. One second.
Do not
Sanju, please.
lie.
No, Sanju, please. Saket Gokhale, I am asking you again. The centre has repeatedly said over the last few years that 42% is the share that's being given to states, which is the highest from the consolidated fund. Are you saying tonight on the show that states are not getting that 42%? It's a simple question.
You're uncomfortable with the answer. That's why you're not letting me speak. You're letting another panelist
Can you
interrupt me.
please answer the question I asked you? It's the third time I'm asking you, sir. Humbly.
Again, if you promise to not let the BJP interrupt, I will speak.
I'm listening.
You're
I'm
the
waiting.
one that has a responsibility.
I'm waiting for you,
First-
Mr. Gokhale.
Your BJP panelist is literally saying ridiculous things like 68 rupees of 100 goes to states. India only imports Brent crude. Brent crude is what the benchmark index is called. That's not what the oil is called. I mean, you have such non-factual spokespersons coming on your debates and they're clearly saying, oh, there are no arrears. I'm sorry, should we present to you copies of this year's budget to show you the arrears that are owed to the states? It's very convenient for you to not. So let me put it straight here. If the 97,000 crores of arrears are settled, I make a commitment here right now on your channel. We will not impose any VAT on fuel for the next 5 years.
Okay, Sanju Verma, you have the
I want to come
TMC
in here.
spokesperson on record saying if the 97,000 crores is cleared, they will cut VAT for the next 5 years. They will not impose an
VAT,
additional
zero VAT for
rupee.
5 years.
They will not
Zero
impose an
VAT.
additional rupee of VAT for the next 5 years. Sanju Verma, respond.
No, not additional
Okay.
rupees, 0
You know,
rupees.
Zaka-
Okay, that's what I said. Yeah.
You know, Zaka, now please can you stop this man from heckling me? Okay.
Hey,
First
you
and
were
foremost,
interrupting
I don't
me.
need to
Okay,
learn
one at a time,
economics
please.
I-
We're all professionals. We're all adults. Sanju Verma, now your time. Yeah.
This is not fair.
Okay, yes.
I will not speak if this man
Sanju,
continues.
yes.
I will not speak if this man
Yes,
continues.
yes, Sanju, I'm listening to you.
First
Yes.
and foremost,
Yes,
First
ma'am.
and foremost, this man does not know anything about economics, and I don't need to learn the essence of what Brent crude is from somebody like Saket Gokhale, who's a rookie. Now, let me tell you one thing, Zaka. I've got these numbers from the finance ministry, and I challenge Saket Gokhale or anybody from the opposition on your panel to say that these numbers are wrong before coming on your debate. Under the revised estimates of the last financial year, the centre, as per the 15th Finance Commission, was supposed to give to states 7,44,743 crores. I'm giving the complete numbers till the last decimal. But do you know what we ended up paying eventually to the states? Eventually, in the last financial year ending March 31st, 2022, we ended up paying to states 8,82,904 crores.
Okay.
Far higher than the 7,44,000 odd crores that we were supposed to pay. Coming to GST, Mamata Banerjee is lying. I'll finish in 10 seconds.
Okay,
I'll
yes.
finish in 10 seconds. Zaka, this
10
is
seconds,
not done.
yes. 10 seconds, quickly, please.
Last financial year, the GST deficit compensation to states was rupees 2.59 lakh crore, and in the first 3 months of calendar year 2022, we have already paid in advance 75,000 crore.
Okay.
Mamata Banerjee is a rabid liar.
Okay. Now let me ask Anshul Abhijit. No, one second. Let me ask Anshul Abhijit. How is what the Modi government doing any different from what you did when UPA2 was in power and oil had crossed $100 a barrel? People were paying close to 80-85 rupees at that time. 80-85 rupees a litre. You remember it. I remember it. How is it any different?
No, I'll tell you.
So tell our viewers. You don't have to tell me. Tell our viewers what alternate plan you have when oil is at $130 a barrel in the international market. How are you not going to charge 100 rupees a litre for petrol?
Zaka, in 2001, when he handed over the keys of the treasury to this highly incompetent government that has have no understanding of macroeconomics, I think we are missing the wood for the trees. The whole this rhetoric by the Prime Minister and his guile is just to start this kind of Darwinian and humanitarian competition between states. Who's better than the other? We're missing the point. They've completely wrecked the economy. They have increased the excise duty of petrol and diesel 13 times and earned 24 lakh crores. The honorable spokesperson of the BJP, extremely nimble with her deceitful figures. I bet she can't refute this one. And what have they done with that? I'll tell you what the price of petrol and diesel was in 2014. In the international market, it was 106, and in the domestic market, it was 100. Come on, man.
Why has Maharashtra not...
Sanjay, 1 second. Anshul did not interrupt you. One at a time. Please, one at a time. No, not on this show. Anshul, yes, go ahead.
Zaka, please give the honorable spokesperson more time than me. Just let me complete what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't have a competitiveness for time. I don't care really. They want to start light fires everywhere. I don't really care. I'm just telling you the macroeconomic picture and what it was in UPA1 since you asked me that question. Do you know what the excise duty was on petrol and diesel? The excise duty on petrol was a little over 9. The excise duty on diesel was a little over 3. And now look at it. I mean, those figures were given by the spokesperson herself. I mean, they've risen astronomically. What have you done with 24 lakh crores that you have earned in the last couple of years? To the year 2020-21, you have earned 3.72 lakh crores in increasing excise duty, and that is essentially excise duty which comes in cess and additional taxes.
No, but Anshul, no. What the BJP is claiming is that just food subsidies alone over the pandemic year, they have provided 80 crore people with food, free ration. Food subsidy alone has gone up in the last few years to 96 lakh crores. When the UPA2 was in power, it was half of that. It was 48 or 49 lakh crores. Where do you think all this money is coming from for food subsidy programs?
You know how deceitful that argument is?
Why?
Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan said it himself. कि ये हम पैसा तो बढ़ा रहे हैं, लेकिन ये जन कल्याण में जा रहा है. That means you're taking money from the poor, gift wrapping it, and giving it as some sort of gratitude. And Mr. Puri said the same thing. He said, we have to increase it now. Hang on, let me finish, ma'am. Ma'am, let
Stop
me finish.
lecturing
So
the
that
BJP.
means you're robbing from the poor and then
Maharashtra
giving
has
it back
not
to them
reduced VAT
with
by
an
a
Okay.
attitude
single
and saying,
All right,
no, no,
one
no.
second. I'm
You
getting
should be
another
done.
another piece of breaking news on this
Rajasthan has
story.
reduced
I'll go to
VAT by
Gaurav after this, but the Kerala Finance Minister has also now responded. This is after Bengal. Now the Kerala Finance Minister responding and saying that for the last 6 years, the Pinarayi Vijayan government has not increased the tax on petrol and diesel. The central government has introduced huge taxes in the form of cess and surcharge on fuel. This seems to be a bit of a pain point with most states, opposition states, who are saying that yes, while the centre has cut excise duty, there have also been cess and surcharges. And I want to ask Gaurav if there is merit in that argument. Is cess and surcharge, which is non-transferable, as I understand, from the consolidated fund or from from the monies earned through sale of petrol and diesel, is that a sore point? And is there any validity in what the opposition states are saying about cess and surcharge? Gaurav. Gaurav, can you hear me? I can't hear Gaurav. Okay, we'll go back to Gaurav. We'll try and see if we can fix his audio line. But Sanju Verma, please answer. This is the Kerala Finance Minister saying this. Other finance ministers of opposition ruled states are also saying that excise duty you may have cut, but what about cess and surcharge? That still is a constant, and that is something that comes exclusively to the central government.
Zaka, what I fail to understand is this moving goalposts. Initially, all the opposition ruled states said, let Modi government cut excise on petrol and diesel, we will follow suit. Now that the Modi government cut excise duty on petrol and diesel in November 2021, more than 5 months have elapsed. The opposition has done zilch. Now they are saying, oh, GST arrears are pending, cess has not been cut. Should I tell you, Zaka, as I said a few minutes back, Kerala, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, followed by Maharashtra are the top 4 states to get revenue deficit grant from the central government. Revenue deficit grant is paid every month to compensate states because they moved to GST in 2017.
Okay.
So the centre is bearing the burden of GST. Centre is bearing the burden
All right,
of vaccination
let me ask Gaurav this. Gaurav, the question that I asked you about cess and surcharge, is that a valid concern being raised by opposition states?
Yeah, that's from a purely technical point of view, that's correct. There's merit in that point that says the monies that the government, the center collects as cess and surcharges, that do not go into the divisible pool. So it's not obligatory on part of the center to share those revenues with the states as compared to, say, an union excise duty. Now, but having said that, now, whatever the Prime Minister said also needs to be seen in the context of a very painful legacy of our India's energy economics. And successive governments, both center and the states, have used petrol and diesel as milch cows. It is now there is this argument that if you bring petroleum products under GST, everything will get sorted. I think it's not as simple as that, because there's something called the revenue neutral rate. Now, assuming that you bring petrol and diesel under GST, are states willing to forego a lot of revenue? If petrol and GST is slapped at the highest GST rate of 28%, for instance, that would mean that the total tax incidence as of now is about anywhere between 55 to 60%, depending on which state you are in. That will come down to about 28%. That would mean a massive loss both for the center and the states. At best, what GST will do is to tidy it up. And, if you fix a GST rate of 55% for the consumer, it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
States have an argument that since GST has been rolled out 5 years ago, it has robbed them of the fiscal past. So this is one of their most efficient sources of collecting revenues to fund their expenses. But the argument here is that if you take, say, a state like Maharashtra, for instance, Maharashtra has two rates of VATs within the state itself, one for the Bombay region and one for the non-Mumbai region. In 2021, they collected about 25,430 crore as VAT on petrol and diesel. That accounted for about 15% of their own state tax revenue. So you can imagine the disproportionately heavy dependence on one set of products, okay, primarily petrol and diesel, for states to collect their revenues. The center, on the other hand, in last year, if you take, for instance, last fiscal year, 21-22, center collected as taxes, as excise duty on petrol and diesel, about 2,95,000 crore, which is about 11% of the the center's gross tax revenue collected in 21-22. Now, the center has an argument saying that there is a burden of fiscal responsibility. I think the Prime Minister is probably trying to say that there is also a burden of fiscal responsibility that the center has to bear, which is far stronger and heavier than the states. So if the states do not roll back the tax rates, VAT rates, no, there's a context to it. In May 2020, the center raised excise duty both on petrol and diesel by 10 rupees and 13 rupees and 10 rupees respectively. Then it rolled it back in November 2021 by about 6 rupees and 5 rupees. Many states, Delhi, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, etc.
Gaurav, I'm really sorry, I'm completely out of time, but we'll hope to catch you again at 9 o'clock on Brass Tacks, where we'll debate this issue. But for the moment, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much to all our panelists and our guests. On the other side, Mario Shakil will join you in just a moment.